Everyone has a unique gift, and Mike, the creator of the 1NELife podcast, believes most people don't know how to use their gifts or what they are. Mike wants you to see things from a different perspective and be true to yourself. The 1NELife podcast, it inspires, motivates, and creates positive energy, love, and compassion to all communities. We only have one life to live. Be yourself and live your truth. Add the 1NELife podcast to your playlist. That's the number 1NELife. Available on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcast, and your favorite podcast platform.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to the 1NELife podcast. I am Mike MIC Reed, and here we talk about positive psychology while we're taking care of our well-being and telling your story, because everybody has an amazing story. I can't get that word out. Let's go. Anyways, in studio today, we have Ness from Natural Kings and friends of the program in the building. What's up, man?
Yo, man. Thank you, bro. It's a little different for me. You know, I'm on this side. I'm on this side now.
You were shocked, wasn't you?
Yeah, I am a little in shock, but it's all good.
You knew it was coming, though.
Yeah.
And so when I text Ness last night, because unfortunately my other guest, he got into a car accident.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, so he couldn't make it. And I text Ness last night. Like, hey, man, what you doing tomorrow?
I already knew it was
you
coming.
Next. And he was like, shit, I knew this was coming.
I already knew.
Yeah, you knew it was going to come. I was telling somebody this morning, because I was telling them, you actually have a fan. I wore one of your hoodies to school, and not today, not this one, but the family one.
Yeah.
Like last week, and some dude came up to me. He was like, hey, man, that's from Retro Kings? And I was like, yeah. He's like, yeah, I don't know him, but, man, I know his stuff. He's like, he's dope. I was like, yeah, that's my boy. He's like, for real? I was like, yeah. So this morning when I saw him at school, I was like, he's going to be on my show today. He's like, man, I got to check it out.
Oh, that's what's up. Yeah, man. You know, I got a crazy story, too. Like, it's weird, bro. Like, when I find people out and about, and if I'm usually wearing my stuff, right? So, we were in Vegas, and I think we're taking the kids up to like the second floor of Circus. You know how it kind of like it turns like this, and as soon as we got up there, this dude was walking down from the second floor. He's like, "Oh shit, Ness, what's up, man? Like Retro Kings, bro." Oh, and then I was like, he caught me off guard, and I was with my wife and kids, and then they're just looking at me like, "The hell, like this fool, like you got fans?" You know, and it was one of those moments, bro. And like I always say, like, you know, a bunch of celebrities have worn my stuff, but I don't feel that. I don't feel it like the way any random person that just goes on the website and spends $30 on a shirt, $60 on a hoodie, hard-earned money, and they keep wearing it. You know, celebrities, they'll wear it one time and then they toss it. They got all the clothes in the world, but it was dope, man.
No, I know, and that comes from your humbleness. Right. Yeah. Like I've had similar situations where it's like it's just a different feeling. It's like, damn, you know me?
Yeah, it feels so good. And
it feels good.
And then it was crazy, like seeing my kids and my wife looking at me like, damn, dude, like,
right, yeah,
like you're known, you're popular, bro. Like even in Vegas, out of all, you know, like anywhere we go. And then, but yeah, it's cool, like to see the brand too. Like go to the airport, you see someone rocking the brand. It's like, damn, that's dope. You know, or Disney, anywhere. So it's gratifying, man. And that I think that's one of the things that keeps me going too. Like, you know, when I see stuff like that.
Well, again, it's something that I always talk about, man. And I actually learned this from Dwayne, our boy Dwayne. He taught me years ago. I think we was probably 19 years old, and he told me, he said, Mike, never chase money, chase your passion. The money will always present itself. Right. And he said it word by word, just like that. Yeah. And that stuck with me throughout my whole career. Yeah. And so I've always been like that. I've never chased money. I've always chased my passion. And that's why I think, you know, and it goes for you too, why we're both kind of, you know, somewhat successful in our own rights, right? In our fields, is because we do chase our passion. We do what we love. Right? Yeah. And that humbleness comes with that. Yeah. We're not out there just chasing money, just doing things for the money. There's passion in it.
And you know, and I got to ask that question, like, you know, obviously, you know, you do my podcast, and that's one of the things. Like when they got to ask me a question, that's what it was, and I said, don't ever chase the money. Right. Do it because you want to. Do it because you love it. Yeah. And then the money will come.
Money will always
And
come.
then too, I was watching another podcast where the exhibit was on, and he said it too. He's like, people know when you're fake. People know when you're real. And, you know, this is the reason why I feel too like we've been able to be around for over 20 years, because people know I'm not fake. Exactly. I'm not fake when it comes to what I do. Right. You know what I mean?
And you know what? I was actually having this conversation with somebody the other day, and I was telling them about how we was talking about fakeness, right? And for years, like I actually started off having a graphic design company when I was like 18 years old. Is when I grew up with DJ Quick and AMG and all them, right? AMG is like my boy. Like I grew up with him, and he introduced me to everybody else, Second to None, High C, and all them. And so I used to just hang around with them. And from that, I was doing like people's cover arts. Like I did AMG's cover art for Bitch Better Have My Money. I did a bunch of other people's stuff, just all the studios I was going to. And throughout my whole career, when I had that graphic design company, I never had business cards. And people used to always ask me, why you don't carry business cards? I'm a firm believer that if I had to give you a business card and sell you all my stuff, then my stuff is not speaking for itself. My work should sell for itself.
Right.
My work that I do should be able to say, like, let me get somebody should say, hey, let me get, who did that? Like, I want to talk to him. And that's actually how I got into TV and film. I don't know if I ever told this story, but I did a website for somebody who was doing an event, and this is when Flash first came out. When website and Flash first came out, dude, I was a beast at Flash. I was doing shit nobody was.
Flash, bro.
I was doing shit nobody was doing, right? And I did this thing for this one DJ dude of mine. Shout out to DJ T. Matter of fact, Mustard's uncle, how Mustard got into the thing. I knew Mustard DJing with DJ T before Mustard was Mustard.
Damn.
Right. So I got all these stories. But anyways, I did a thing for DJ T. And because me and DJ T was boys. And he was doing this event. And I did this website for him for it. And it had Flash on it. And so he was actually working on this show called Dance 360 at the time.
I remember that.
Right. Yeah. So he was the DJ for that. So the executive producer saw the website that I did because DJ T showed it to him. And he was like, dude, who did that? I need to meet him.
Yeah.
T called me one night. He was like, yo, Mike, the producer want to meet with you. He got a project for you. I was like, cool. Went down to Paramount, and dude set me down. Claude Brooks. Shout out to my boy Claude Brooks. He's a huge mentor, big brother to me. Long story short, that meeting turned into a 35-year working relationship.
Yeah, man. It's crazy how like your passion or your passion or whatever, like it's just what you create and someone sees it, they see it. They see you put effort into it, you know? And it's crazy, like, because even in my industry now, like, it's so easy to say I own a T-shirt company or an apparel company, right? Because it's just so easy compared to, 20 years ago when I started. Right. But you could see right through all the ones that are doing it because they think it's quick money. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's and I get it when people, well, I don't get it, but I see it that when people be like, oh, that's easy, I can do that.
Right.
Like this is simple, right? It's real simple.
Right.
But yeah, like do it.
Yeah.
I want to see you do it.
Yeah. It's true.
It's true. But anyways, I want to talk about family and Pretty Little Poppy because that's how we met.
Right.
I met Brenda first, your wife, who's the owner of Pretty Little Poppy. That's where we record our studios at, you guys, down at Pretty Little Poppy. And I've known you guys for almost 3 years now.
About 3 years, yeah.
Yeah, Brenda and I, we've always connected. Shout out to Brenda. She's such an amazing little person.
Yeah, for real.
She's a little person with a huge heart, man.
Yeah, man. She's tiny but mighty.
4'11". But I see where both of you guys get it, man. You guys do so much for the community out here. You guys do so much for people. Even in your business with Retro Kings, I see you're always just working with people. Yeah. Like you're never hard and be like, nah, I've been doing this for blah, blah, blah years. I'm Retro Kings. I'm charging this. But you don't work like that.
Yeah, I don't.
You don't, man. And so it shows it.
Yeah, and it's that same mentality, like, and I got it from Dwayne too. Like when I met Dwayne, shout out to Dwayne. He told me the same thing. Like, don't chase money. Like, you got to be humble. Yeah. Like, you got to be cool with people. Don't burn any bridges. Yeah. And I've noticed, like, that's the reason why we've been able to stay in business is because we don't do none of that. Right. And it's one of the reasons, too, now, like, you know, after I wanted to stop printing, I wanted to dedicate my time to just designing. And then it was you, my wife, my neighbors. They were like, you should do a podcast because now it's your turn to kind of shine a light on, you know, your guest. So yeah, man, it doesn't hurt, man. It doesn't hurt me or my brand at all to be nice to people, to be cool with people, to not gatekeep, you know. And I mean, another one of those things, you just get instant like gratification when people are out there hustling, you know, and they're doing it.
Right. And when I used to design, and I'm pretty sure you probably did the same thing, I had to do a lot of stuff for free because I had to put my name out there and my brand out there.
Yeah.
So for me to design something and to put it out there for free, that was my advertisement. Right. Again, I'd rather do that than hand out a business card.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Because that spoke volumes.
Right.
Because when someone saw it, like Claude did, they'd be like, "Wow, that's dope. Who did that?"
Right.
You know what I mean?
You know, speaking of business cards too, though, like I don't carry business cards either. But even then, now, like, you know, now it's everything is. What's your social media, right? Like, let me go check out your stuff on social media. But back then, I ended up getting some business cards made, right? But if you look, every business card is like 2 inches by 3.5, right? Rectangular. I was like, I gotta be different, right? So I went and got some like 1.5 by 1.5. So I got square business cards made, rounded edges, to the point. My logo in the front, my info in the back, just my name, my phone number, my email. That's it. And it was like, boom, when I hand out my business card, they're like, oh shit, this is dope. Like this, you know, like I never seen a business. So then it opens that line of communication. So whatever you do, you have to be creative, you know? And I knew that people are going to be out there handing business cards and every single business card is going to look the same. But here I am with a 1.5 inch by 1.5 inch. They're going to be like, oh, I remember that dude because of the business card. You know what I mean?
You know, it's funny. I did the same thing, dude. I created, I think mine was 1 inch. I created so many business cards because people kept saying, you need business cards, you need business cards. And I've created them, but I was like you. I was like, I don't want to just do a regular business card.
Right.
And something that Claude taught me when I was doing pitch deck books for shows, and it made sense to me. He said, dude, you got to think about the same thing as business cards with pitch decks for shows. When you're going to pitch a show to the networks, they get so many people that come into the office and do all these pitch deck meetings, right? And they all, and we call it like a one sheet or a pitch deck. It's a leave behind. Because after you do your meeting, you always want to leave something behind. But if you look at their desk, they have all these one sheets and pitch decks on their desk. What's going to stand out between yours and the other 20? Just the same as business cards. Back in the day when people used to hand out all these business cards, everybody got a stack of business cards. I'm not about to go through 100 business cards to find out what I want. So what's going to stand out? Like you said, you got to be different.
You got to be
right?
different.
So I created all these different business cards, but I never landed on something that I was happy with because it was my brand. I kept always going back to, man, if my work don't speak for itself, man, why am I passing out a business card?
Right.
I don't want, and that's why I don't like sales to the day. I don't want to sell you on myself.
I'm not a salesperson.
I'm not a salesperson.
But you're gonna get those ones that you're gonna be at the right place at the right time, and that's when you need it. You know, because you don't have time to sit there and be like, go through my Instagram or do they, like they don't know about you. Yeah. You know, but they get a vibe off of you and then they need something, right? So then I think that's when you like, boom, it's here. You know, even though now, I mean, everything's on your phone. You just
boom, like I even did the tap business card where you had the little thing at the bottom and you tap and now you got all my information.
Right.
Like I think I used it like maybe 3 or 4 times and people was like, oh, that's cool. You got all your information. And I did like that because you didn't have to sit there and type it out because people don't have time, right? So it's like, cool, tap my phone, all my information pops up, right? But I stopped doing that.
Yeah, man. It's, you know what it is too? Like, it's the conversations. Like, let's say I just met you now and we're having a good conversation and I want to work with you, you know, you're going to end up giving me your number. Yeah. I'm going to have your number. Hey, yo, I'm going to hit you up tomorrow. Let's set something up. You know, if for whatever reason the vibe's not there, then I'm going to be out of here. I don't need your business. I don't need anything. I'm just, you know, yo, hey man, it was cool meeting you. I'm out. I got to go. But if you connect with someone, chances are you're going to have a good conversation and you're gonna exchange phone numbers, and then boom,
it's memorable, right?
Yeah.
And that's something that I know we keep talking about Dwayne, but it's something he taught me. He actually helped me design my logo. Dwayne helped me with that.
Yeah.
And he's the one that told me to take out the O and put the 1.
All right.
Because I already had the logo, but he was like, hey, take out the O, put the 1. People are going to remember that.
Yeah.
His is going to be hard to remember, but it's different. Again, going back to different. So, and if you ever notice, and if anybody ever noticed, know me, I don't wear nobody hats but my own.
Yeah, I noticed that.
I wear anything else, but my head is my brand only.
Right.
Right. So whenever I'm talking to someone, they always, have business cards on. I said, no, just look me up 1NELife right here. Right, yeah. If you can remember that and remember our conversation, that means we connected.
Right.
Now I want to talk to you.
Yeah, and then that's when you know, like, all right, cool. Like, you exchange numbers and you guys are good. Like, you don't need a business. You don't need none of that. Because you've already connected. You already did it like this, face to face.
Right. And if it was memorable and you made an impression, they're gonna find you and they're gonna reach out.
Yeah. No doubt.
Period.
No doubt.
So anyway, let's talk about Retro Kings. How did you start?
So Retro Kings, and a couple of weeks ago we celebrated our 11th year.
Yeah, congratulations, by the way.
Yeah, 2014. I actually, for those that know me, like they know when I do things, I do them calculated, right? So when I went to set up the brand, and get it like legal, like this brand, like it's for real now. I did it on the same date as Nike, January 25th.
Now, I want to pause right there because I know you did it. I've heard you say that a couple of times. How much time, like when you planned that, did you have to wait like 6 months before that date came back?
Yeah, it was like October to January, so it was like 4 months.
Okay, 4 months.
You know what I mean? But it gave me time to develop the brand.
Okay, cool.
So. When I thought about it, I'm like, yo, I'm gonna release this brand for real on January 25th.
Okay, dope.
2014. But it gave me time from October to January to just develop designs and come up with logos for my brand, like everything, right? The website, everything. So it was kind of cool. Like I didn't have to wait too long,
right?
But it gave me enough time to develop.
It gave you enough time, yeah.
Yeah. So, but before that, I used to have another brand called The Freshness. And I started that brand kind of like when I first met my wife. My daughter was born already, I think. Yeah, it was like 2006. And I remember we were at the apartment, and I'm on the computer. I'm listening to Kanye's album, like his first album, right? I'm listening to his album, and my wife is just chilling right there, and I'm designing. And then I'm like, damn, Kanye's dope. Like he's from Chicago. I'm like a big Bulls fan because of Jordan. And I was like, let me do this design. And then back then, like, remember Kanye used to wear those shutter shades. So what I did is I took the Chicago Bull logo and I put the shutter shades right on top of it. And that's all I did, right? And then underneath I put Chicago's finest. So it was kind of like giving a shout out to Kanye, but also, giving a shout out to the Bulls. And I posted like on back then there was no social media like it is now, but it was like on a website, I think on Hypebeast, like the threads and everything.
Okay, yeah.
And then people were like, yo, that's dope. Like, where can we get this shirt? Blah, 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 everything, right? And then some dude from Karmaloop, shout out to my boy Blake, he saw it. He was working at Karmaloop at the time. And he was like, yo, hey, bro, are you selling these already? And I'm like, nah, I just designed it. He's like, bro, we could sell this shirt on Karmaloop. And I was like, let's do it. I get on Karmaloop and I see it's like the biggest streetwear website out there, right? And I don't know about now, but back then it was like the biggest one. So, bro, long story short, we end up putting my stuff on Karmaloop. I printed a dozen because I wasn't sure. Like, I might sell one today and nothing tomorrow. Right. First day we sell like 15, bro. I'm already in the hole. I'm in the hole 3 pieces, right? And these guys are real big. Like, hey, man, you got to ship within 3 days. Tracking number, everything. And I'm like, damn. So here I go, like scramble to get more printed. So I get more printed. Next day we sell like 10. The next day we sell like 20. The next day we sell like 16. And before you know it, bro, like I've sold like 300 of them in like 3 weeks, right? And I'm like, damn, this is dope. But that's what it does. Like right now you can't see, but I got goosebumps. Right. And it makes you like, it hypes you up. And what it did is it just made me want to keep designing some new stuff to put on Karmaloop, you know, to put it on there and sell it. And so I'm sitting there designing this, and then I tell my wife, like, hey, this stuff is selling. And we got to think of a name brand, because they want me to put it on Karmaloop. Or actually, it was before we started selling it. And then she's like, why don't you just call it Freshness? And I was like, that sounds kind of dope. Like, it's like the word fresh, like from the 80s, you know, like the time I grew up as a kid, as a teenager. I was like, yeah. And she was like, but only use one S. Don't use two S's, because my name, right?
Right.
And boom. So then there it is, Freshness. So I go and I'm trying to buy the domain. It's taken, right? I'm like, damn. So I'm like, all right, we're going to use so the Freshness. And that's how it started. And I just started selling on Karmaloop. And back then, Karmaloop was so dope, man. And I kept telling them when they took that feature off, like they had this feature on there where it was like top sellers, right? The top selling tees from all these brands, like the top 100. You wanted to be number one, bro. And I was number one like a bunch of times. And I had like my competitors, like I inspired them to keep creating, because they want that number one spot, right? When someone overtakes me, bro, I'm like, no, man, I got to get back on the computer. I got to get in the lab and I got to create something. And it created this community of up and coming brands that were just hungry, bro, like hungry to like be number one, you know?
And it was a healthy like competition.
Bro, it was so dope. We met each other. Like we
that's dope.
Like we went to Magic. We all met each other. It was dope. Like everybody had their own niche. And at times, like if it was a dope Jordan coming out, everybody would do a shirt like to their style for that Jordan coming out. And it was just a dope time, man. And so then it started like building my brand. So then what happened from there is like all the stores, the mom and pop stores, like they would go on Karmaloop to see who's doing numbers. And then here they go, like start emailing me. Hey, what's up, bro? Like, I'm from store whatever. I see you're selling on Karmaloop. I see you're doing really good with these shirts. Do you have a line sheet? Do you have a catalog? Oh, I'm like, damn, I don't. In my head, now I got to go and create one,
hey,
you know?
So at the time, because you mentioned Magic, right? A lot of people don't know what Magic is. I know what Magic is, because Dwayne hipped us up on Magic years ago. Yeah. I used to do Magic. And when I tell you Magic, I miss Magic. Magic ain't the same no more. No, it's not. I don't even think they
actually. It used to be like a big party.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, but people, the big companies like Jordan and these big clothes companies, like their booths was like real stores. Yeah, right. They was real stores, like, and they was real creative with it. Right. Like it was dope just to be like, wow, that's a dope ass booth.
Yeah. The only problem with that is you get a lot of like at Magic. For those that don't know what Magic is, it's a trade show for apparel companies. So all the different apparel companies, everybody's there. Like it's coming up too. It's like in a couple weeks. Everybody's there, and then all the buyers come. But there's buyers, there's international buyers, there's buyers from Japan, Australia, all these places. And a lot of the buyers, especially like the guys that are coming from Japan, they're not here to party, man. They were here to do business. And what happened is they get kind of nervous, man, when they see a bunch of people partying at a booth. They don't want to go in there because they're afraid. It's not comfortable for them, you know? So they had to stop that. They had to stop it because there was too many complaints. Like, hey, man, this is turning into a big old party now. It's not even like, it's not even to do business. It's just people out here just to have a good time.
So what I remember, I mean, and you're right, but I also remember that, because at the time, we did Magic, I think for like 10 years. It was only maybe 2 years we actually had enough money to get a booth. Right, but we didn't have booths like them. Like we had like a relic 10 by 10, right? Man. But and this is the time like me, Dwayne, and a couple of childhood friends, we had the Negro Leagues apparel, and the first 3 years we did like most people starting off that couldn't afford Magic. We got a real dope suite hotel. Oh, okay, and went to Magic and passed out flyers. Hey, you want to see our stuff? Come to the hotel. Right. A lot of people did that. Like that was the thing to do until we actually got enough money to actually, I think. 2 years we did a booth. And then after that, we finally got a deal with Rockaware.
Oh, dope.
Dope, but not so dope. It was the year. It was the year that Jay and
Oh, they broke up?
When they broke up. So it was
Him and Dame
Dame.
Dash, yeah.
It was Dame that actually gave us the deal.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, it was Dame that gave us the deal. And man, we was right there, and he was like, "Yeah, we're gonna release this on blah blah blah." And we was like, "Cool." We went home. I think it was a couple of months after that they announced that they were splitting up. So then we called our rep from Rockaway. Was like, "Hey, so what's going on?" He was like, "Yeah, man, all the deals that was on the table off now because they splitting up."
That's whack.
Right?
Yeah,
and I
bro.
think we was like year 7 or 8 or something. So we busted our year all those years and was like,
Dang.
but
Yeah.
it was a learning experience.
Things
It was
happen
fun.
for a reason.
Everything happens for a reason, absolutely.
Yeah, like we finally, we did the same thing. It was just me. I mean, it was just me at first. I had a full-time job. I would come home, pack orders, and the next day take them to the post office on my break. Like it was that until I had this homie of mine. He went to school for business and he graduated and he couldn't find a job, bro.
Right.
Like he was like, yo, I'm applying everywhere. They're not hiring, man. He's like, hire me at your place, And I'm like, bro, we're gonna pay you minimum wage. Like,
Right.
They don't care that you got a degree. Like they're gonna pay you minimum wage. So I don't want to do that to you. And I was like, look, I got this little brand. Help me run it. Because during the day, like, you get phone calls. Like I'm over here getting phone calls I can't answer. Like I'm at work. Like at break, I'm over there making like talking on the phone. Like my days were like gone because I had no time to rest. So I had him come on board. He came on board. He was running the shop, and I made him a partner. And this has been like one of my biggest mistakes in business ever, right? And I tell people, like, when people actually decide, like I see 2 people in business, I talk to both of them, and I'm like, yo, let me tell you my story, because this is what happened to me. This was my boy. We were like this, bro. And so he comes on board, and he's like, hey, man, like, look, if you need to order blanks, paint, whatever, just let me know. I'll order with my credit card. Pay me back. We just keep it moving, like. And I'm like, all right, cool. So we start doing that. Boom, things are going good, right? And we end up doing magic, right? I go and talk to my wife's grandparents. I didn't have the money. It was like 10 grand, bro, to do magic. 10 by 10 booth, and you're going to spend 10 grand. Because the booth is like 6.
Yeah.
Food, hotel, everything, right?
Everything.
Transportation, everything. So Grandpa says, yeah, man. He believed in me, and that's what I loved, like, about her dad and her grandparents. They believed in what I was doing, right? He was like, yeah, you need it? I got it. Goes to the bag, gives me 10 G's cash, right? So we're like, damn, all right, I guess we're doing magic, right? So here we are. And I already knew, like, man, there's going to be these booths that are going to overcome. Like, they look huge. They're huge, right? You seen them. And here we are in a 10 by 10. Like,
I mean, booths upstairs, downstairs.
Yeah,
Like,
right. Like VIP style. Like you want to go upstairs, you got to go through a VIP. Like, and here we are with a 10 by 10. And I'm like, we got to be creative, bro.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what are we going to do? So we went and designed this poster. And it said, like, greetings from, like, Sin City. Like, it had a girl. Like, it was just a dope one color poster. And we printed a bunch of them. And we're, like, slapping them everywhere. But it had, like, the information for the booth and everything. So then people started coming to the booth, checking it out. They're like, yo, you guys got some dope stuff, blah, blah, blah. But they never heard of us.
Right.
So they were kind of afraid to place orders. And we're like, damn, dude, we might. Like, the first day, we probably did, like, maybe, like, $800 in sales, right? We're like, oh, man, I don't think this is going to be worth it, man. Like, 3-day show. The next day, again, like, maybe, like, 2,200 in sales. All right, a little bit more. Cool. And then the last day, bro, and I'll never forget this, man. Some Japanese guys, right? Older dudes, suits and everything. Like, you don't, like, you're at a streetwear, like, you're in the streetwear section of Magic.
Yeah.
And here they are, like, walking in suits and everything. And they look at our stuff and they're like, They walk in and they place like a $10,000 order, right, to ship to Japan. And I'm like, bro, what the hell? And that opened my eyes to, it doesn't matter who's there.
Yeah.
Like you got to talk to everybody and you got to be cool with everybody. You can't, because I'm already seeing him, like, he's Asian, like, man, he ain't going to buy. He don't understand my culture.
He don't understand the culture.
Right? He's in a suit. nah, these dudes understand, you know, and it goes back to that same thing where they came to our booth because we weren't out there partying. We're trying to sell, and, you know, we were friendly.
Your work spoke for itself.
Yeah, and we were friendly. They looked at the work, they liked it, and boom. So then, man, like, we're like, dope. And that's how it started. That's how, you know, Freshness started. You know, 2 years later, we're still doing magic. We're doing magic, and across the way, I'm not a salesman, like we said earlier. You know, I'm sitting there like, man, like, I'm letting my boy do the most of the talking until it's time for me to jump in, like to speak on the designs. Right. That's my language, so I can jump in. But we see this dude, and shout out to my boy Rodrigo, man. We see this dude across the way selling for another brand. It was like a 10 by 20 booth. But this dude is like grabbing like stuff, and he's going out there, like outside the booth, talking to people, like, you know, just, and I'm like, we need that dude.
Right.
We need that dude.
I need that dude over here.
And we had this banner made, kind of like the one, like the one we got here, and it had my logo on it. And my logo was like, I called it the Bruiser logo. Like it's a jet, but it had like the Mickey hand, but it's like it wants to fight, right? Yeah. It's got the teeth, and it was just a really dope logo. Like, people got it tatted on them and everything. So I had this banner with just the logo, and it said the Freshness on it. So after the show, the dude comes over, right? And he introduces himself and everything, and he's like, yo, you guys got a dope logo, man. And I'm like, yeah, I designed it, bro, blah, 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 all this. So again, the same thing. We start talking. Hey, bro, let me get your number, man. You know, like, you know, I see you doing your thing, bro. So then I got his number. I hit him up after the show, like a couple weeks later. And he's like, bro, I can't right now. I can't, because I told him to come on board and help us. And he's like, I can't right now because I'm on board with them, you know, and then it's conflict, right? Conflict of interest. Well, a few months later go by, and something happened with them, and he's unemployed, right? So he's like, he hits me up. Hey, bro, did you guys find a salesman? I'm like, nah, we still need one, bro. I'm free. Let's talk. And, bro, we talked, and he's from Miami, right? And we got him on board as like just on a percentage. You know? And so he starts working for us and starts grinding, bro, just boom, orders after orders. And he's got all these connections from like the others, like the other brand that he worked at. And I get on the phone with him like at least once a week to back then we used to do the hookups to a lot of the sneakers that were coming out. Right. So we would sit there with a calendar and be like, yo, this sneaker's coming out on this day. We need a collection. Dope. Like, and then we go back and forth, and then I go to work. I start designing, right? And man, before you know it, we get them on board full time just for my brand, right? And he's grinding, bro. He's grinding. And I'm gonna tell you this story because I love telling this story, man. Like, he's doing a show in Chicago, right? And I sent him some samples. To Miami. They never get there. Like, UPS messed. I don't know what happened. They got lost, something. So I'm like, hey, bro, I shipped you all these samples, bro. And he's like, damn, I gotta bounce, bro. I gotta bounce in the morning. Where are these samples at? He's like, you know what? Don't even trip. Like, people already know your brand. You know, they know the brand. I'm just gonna go out there, bro. I got some hats and I got the catalog. By then, you know, we had a dope catalog. So he flies out to, you know, we fly him to Chicago. And
it's another
show. It's like a Midwest streetwear show or something. You know, it's a lot smaller than Magic, but it's dope because it's only streetwear. Okay. Right? So he sends me a picture, and I wish I still had that picture, man, of the booth. Empty. There's nothing in the booth, right? Except for like 4 hats, and he's got like the catalogs right there, like a few catalogs. He's like, don't trip, I got this. And he is so good. Like, that's his gift. You know, like, you have your gift, I have my gift. That was his gift, bro. Just talking to people, and people, like, they just gravitate to him, you know? And it was like a 2-day show. He did like 130 grand in business with no samples, nothing, right? So here we are with a stack of orders, bro. Like, and I'm sitting there like tripping out, dude. Like, that's crazy. Like, how people know my brand so well now that they trust what he's saying, right? That the product's gonna be good. Like, they don't need to touch it. They don't need to feel. They don't need to do none of that. And it was like a curse also, because that's when the problem started. And that's when the problem started with me being in business with somebody else. These orders come in that we weren't expecting. It's a smaller show, so we're not expecting all these orders. They come in. He's expecting to get paid on all these orders, right? And we end up shipping maybe 30 racks, bro, out of the 130. That dude's pissed. He gets on the phone with me like, yo, Naz, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, bro, you know me, like I'm in marketing, I'm in design, like you need to talk to him. And he's like, bro, you know what? I can't be doing this, bro. Like you guys, like I'm losing all this money because you guys are not doing the right thing out there, blah, blah, blah. Like he just went off on us, right? Ends up leaving. Like he don't want to work for us no more. Rightfully so. Like I do the same thing, you know? And that's where the problem started with me and my partner. Like it was just whatever I wanted, he wanted something different. Right. And then instead of us coming like this, we started doing this little by little. And then before you know it, like we did over a mil one year, bro. And then the next year, you know, everything just shut down. Like we had a store here on the boulevard, right? When they first built the boulevard, shut that down. We had a 2-story warehouse. You know, my office was on the 2nd floor overlooking the golf course, like just dope. Had to shut that down, you know. And it was because we couldn't meet in the middle.
And that's the sad part about having partners. 'Cause I know you've talked about this on your show many times about that. I've been in the same situation where even like I executive produced this one, not a TV show, but it was a film. It was a feature film. And I had 5 partners. And I executive produced it. I own all the rights to the film. And I got all the contracts from the actors to everybody. And it's all under my production company name. And so I owned all the rights to everything. Yet they got mad because we couldn't agree on a final version of the film, right? So I was just like, okay, cool. Like, I'm not releasing the film then. And then they wanted a higher percentage. One, I was the only executive producer, right? They got mad after I started doing the contracts because my contract said, because I was the executive producer and the only executive producer, meaning I put up the money, I get first money out. Right. I mean, whatever money come in, pay me first, and then pay all the bills, pay you guys. They got mad. They're like, well, we want to hire presenters because we want to be executive producer. I was like, well, you didn't put in. But being the fair guy that I am, I said, okay, cool. This is how much the film cost me. All 4 of you guys, we split it. Just give me the money. I'll make you executive producer. They said, okay, cool. But then they said, but we got to do it in payments. And I'm like, so every month for X amount of time, you're just going to give me this amount of money. And they did it. At first, I was like, I don't want to do no damn payments. Like, if you ain't got the money right now, then, you know what I'm saying? Because now I got to trust the fact that you're going to pay me every money. Now I got to call you every money, and I got to go. I don't like doing that. Right. I hate collecting money. So they did it. They ended up doing it surprisingly. So I made them all executive producers. They still want more. And I'm like, no, I'm not giving you more. Like, we splitting this 5 ways. And now they're complaining about, well, I did this and I should get paid more and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, we're all equal partners. We all agreed on that. Like, what's the problem?
You see, we ended up getting lawyers, bro. Like, it got heavy. Like, you know, you got to think, like, doing over $1 million. Yeah. Like, in sales, like, we have to figure out where everything's going to go. Like, we're not getting along. We got to figure this out. So he got his lawyer. I got mine. Shout out to my boy Steven, because he's still my boy, and I know I'm going to get him on my podcast. And he's like, okay, so what? Tell me the percentages. What percentage are you? What percentage is he? And I'm like, we're 50-50. He looked at me and was like, you did 50-50?
Yeah, I know.
And I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh, man. He's like, all right. He's like, you probably didn't have anybody you didn't come to me before you did this, so you had no one to really tell you this, but you never do 50-50.
Yeah, never.
You do 51, He does 49.
That's the closest you get.
You know, that's as close as you're going to get,
Yeah.
but you have the upper hand.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn. So then he was like, look, the only thing you can do, because you're the president, he's the VP, you can fire him. You can fire him. He can't come to the shop anymore, but he's still got the keys. So he can come in whenever he wants because he's a partner. And I'm like, okay. So I ended up firing him, right? I'm like, look, I don't need you here no more. And I'm the president. At that time, I wasn't humble, bro. I was just like, look, I'm the president, bro. Like, I don't need you. You need to be out. And it just got so bad because he was my boy. And that's the worst part. You know, like, we were tight, man. And now it's like nothing, right? And yeah, man, we got lawyers involved in everything. And it's just like, it was such a headache, man. And you know, 2013, that's when I lost the business. 2013 also, I separated from my wife. So it was like all this coming down on me. You know, I almost lost the house a couple times. Like, I remember my boy Ernie, who I had on the show, he would come over, try to like, kind of like hype me up to design. I wasn't feeling it. And, you know, we try to sit in front of the computer to design, then we get hungry. I have no food at my house. I got no money in my pocket. I got no money in the bank. And I'm just like, dude, what the hell? Like, what am I doing? So it was like, you know, like I say, being an entrepreneur, man, you're going to go through your ups and downs, right?
Yeah,
and that was
100%.
2013 was it was like basement for me, basement low. And it was just one of those things I just put in my brain, like little by little. It's not going to be overnight. It's going to be hour by hour, day by day. I have to get out of this hole. And I finally did, you know. And,
you know, it's crazy because there's a very similar situation. Like I said, when they all wanted more percentages, I was like, no. I was like, it's my show. I said, I gave you guys what you wanted was executive producer credit, and you guys get a percentage now. But I'm not giving you nothing else. So at the time, I was the only one, because I was working on a TV show at the time with Claude, because of the deal I struck with him. I was the only one working on a real network show. All the four of them were still trying to get into the business. So in my brain, I'm like, okay, you're stupid. Like, listen to what I'm saying, because I know what I'm doing right now. I'm the only one working on a network show. You're right. I'm bringing you up. I'm looking at this as a stepping stone to do more projects. I wasn't looking at it to make a lot of money. They was trying to, and there was another argument, they was trying to sell the movie for $140,000. I'm like, dude, we're not going to get $140,000 for this. We're going to get 10 at the most. And I'm cool with that, because if you know anything about, you know, doing a TV show or a film like the way we did it, you're only going to get 10 at the most. Maybe 20 if you're lucky.
And what do they do with those though? Like,
well, at the time, well, you put it on online, you stream it, and you just collect revenue every week from different places. So I'm about to get to that in a minute, right? So I said, well, I'm not releasing the show. I'm on a network TV show. I'm getting paid, not from this show, but from another show. I don't need this. None of them had jobs. They needed this. But their vision, and I'm not mad at their vision being so high, but realistically, and I even had other people tell them, you're not going to get 140 for this. And they kept saying, no, we're going to get 140, blah, blah, blah. They did their research. I'm like, dude, you're not. Trust me. I'm talking to my executives who actually are network people. They're not going to give you 140.
Right.
So I just shelved it. And again, one of the dudes that was a partner of mine, him and his wife was me and my ex-wife best friend. Like, we used to babysit their kids. We used to do family things together, family trips. We gave them money to help them because they were struggling one year. We did all this stuff for them. And for him to stab me in the back like this, so what happened was, after I shelved it, I was like, well, I don't need it. So I just shelved it. I said, I'm not putting it out, because we couldn't come in the middle. 4 or 5 years later, comes to find out it's on Amazon.
Hey.
Yeah. Somebody called me up, was like, hey, Mike, remember that film you did? I just watched it on Amazon. I was like, okay. I was like, okay, cool. Went to Amazon, cease and desist, sent them all my paperwork. 2 days later, it was down. 2 months after that, it was on Apple TV. Somebody, hey, man, they put it on Apple. Okay, cool. Same thing. Went to Apple, cease and desist, sent them my paperwork. But this time, the guy on Apple was like, well, they said not to trust you and that you lied about everything. I said, cool, because the guy called me. I was like, no problem. I said, you know what? I sent you all the contracts. Read them very well. I said, if you don't believe me, let me know within the next 24 hours. I'll have my attorney call you, and we can settle this in court. Within 24 hours, he emailed me back and said, you know what? They're not making that much money. It's not worth the headache.
Yeah.
I'll shut it down. They shut it down. I was like, thank you. So,
Man.
so it's been down now. So I don't know what they're doing with it, but there's to this day, this was 2011. To this day, they're still trying to shop it. I'm like, dude, you know how much shit I've done in between then? If you're still trying to shop that,
Right.
go find a regular job.
Right. Right. And I think too, like you said, like they didn't have jobs. So I think for them it was a little different situation where they were probably looking at a payday.
They was.
So that they can help themselves,
right,
live, and then throw some more money into the business. Where you were already working, you were like, nah, man, like, no, I already know. Plus, you already knew.
Yeah. But it was a stepping stone, and I kept telling them, no, this is a stepping stone, so people can see what we can do.
Right, and it goes back to the same thing where maybe they didn't like they were looking at it from a money point of view.
There was money hungry, absolutely.
So, and that's what happens.
They chase the money.
Yeah, they're chasing the money.
No, that's not.
I've only met one person, man, that when I ask a lot of people, like, why do you do what you do? Like, do you love this? Do you love what you're doing? And some people say yes, some people say no. They got to live. They got to pay bills. And my brother-in-law, his brother, he's a lawyer. He's an attorney. And every now and then when we hang out, we get to talking. And I asked him one time, I said, hey, man, like, did you always want to be an attorney? Like, you went to UCLA, you went to whatever law school, like, you wanted to do all that to become an attorney? And he's like, no, I didn't. He goes, I don't even like it, but I like the money.
Right.
And so he's been like the only one where he was like dead serious. Like, I love the money, bro. Like,
it's crazy.
And he makes a grip of money,
But some people are built like that.
Yeah, and some people are built like that.
They're built like that.
And he's like, I hate it. Like he does not like it, but he likes when he's getting paid. When he's looking at his bank account, he loves it. So, but yeah, man, it's crazy. So, like I said, 2013 was like the worst,
right,
personal and business side for me. Like those that know me and knew me back then, like, man, like they saw me go through it, bro. Like they saw me go through it.
But you went through you took that adversity, you took it as a lesson, and you pushed through it, and Retro Kings was born.
Yep. Yeah. So by 2014, I took like maybe like 4 or 5 months since the whole thing happened with my partner. We got rid of everything. I just didn't want to I just wanted to go get a job, go work, and then shout out to my boy Ernie, man. Cause he was there with me like every day. Like, no, man, you're built to do this. Like you need to be designing. Don't go get a job. Cause then you're going to get stuck and you got little by little. And yeah, man, little by little, he was really good at developing websites. So we would just create. I would just create and then we'd throw them on the website. And then at that time, like Instagram was, it started. Mm-hmm. So I started posting on Instagram and just little by little. And I thought it was going to be easy, man, to be honest. Like I thought it was going to be easy going from Freshness to Retro Kings because I'm the guy designing it. I'm the guy in front of the brand. I'm the guy and it was hard, man. It was like people didn't believe in Retro Kings. It was like let's start all over again, and and I was using the same blanks, the same techniques, everything, Well,
let me ask you this though, because I know that's the same time you said you and your wife you split up, but what was that moment, and what was it in that moment that you decided not to give up on your designs and not to give up on your family, like your wife? Because I know you guys got back together.
Yeah. It was just little things, bro. Like when it came to like business, it was the love that I have for designing, like for creating, and then seeing someone actually buy it and loving it too the way I love it, So even if it was just one person buying a shirt, like it kept me doing it, and it happened like that. Like I had people that supported me. Like they saw me go through the whole thing and they still rock with me. And whatever I designed, they were like, hey, I need one, like boom. And then on the family side, you know, like I always told myself, man, I said, look, you know, my wife is 11 years younger than me. I was ready. Like I was 30, she was 19 when we got married, but I was ready. I was ready to be a husband. I was ready to be a dad. And then, you know, so in 2013, when all this happened, I had both of my kids already, and they were little. And I just, I kind of just looked at the whole picture, and I'm like, man, what am I doing? Like, I got to figure something out. Like you know, I wanted to get married, not to be in this situation.
Right.
You know, I wanted to be married to have a family and grow my family, and, you know, and so I had like an open mind of always, you know, getting back together. And luckily it did. Like a year later, we started talking again. Like, you know, we used to argue a lot. Like, but a lot of our arguments came from work. Like,
right.
I used to bring all that crap from the shop. You know, I'm over there arguing with my partner, and I used to bring that crap home. She wasn't having it. Like, I'm not having it. I'm pissed. Like, and the kids are little. Like, they're watching all this, and it was a bad time, man.
Right.
And then I just told myself, you know, when we got back together, I said, look, because during the freshness time, me as a man and us as males, like, we just want to grind. We want to grind. Right. We want to grind because we want a better life for our family, our kids. We want to be able to take vacations. You want to be able to buy your wife whatever car she wants, all this, right? So in your mentality is, I need to grind. I need to just work. My kids were little. Like, they all they wanted was dad home. Like, they wanted to play with me. They wanted to hang out with me. And I'm over there at the shop, you know, till 7, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night. Come home. If there's something to eat, cool. If not, I'll stop by and get me something, and then get on the computer because I have to design. Kids go to bed. Like, my wife is over there watching, you know, TV. Like, there's nothing there. So when we got back together, I told myself, I said, look, and I told her too. I told my wife, I said, I have this new brand, and I'm going to continue to do it, you know, but I'm going to tell you right now, like, after 5 o'clock, I'm done. Like, if I need to do something, I'm going to wait till the next day, because I want to be able to spend time with you. I want to be able to spend time with the kids, because I need to get that back, right. You know? And yeah, and that's how we did it, you know? And yeah, there was times when, yeah, we were under the gun for a design or something that communication, right? Like, hey, look, today I really have to go home and I gotta work on this, but maybe later we could watch a movie or something or whatever, you know? So yeah, that was one of my things, like, coming back into the relationship and coming back into, like, having a new brand. I knew I had to do things different, because what I did before, it didn't work and I didn't like it. You know what I mean? And then to this day, like, I still, like, I'm doing Retro Kings by myself, you know, and actually, like, you know, I have my boy Mark on here that, you know, you were here too. Like, he's interested in taking over my brand, because after a while, like, my goal was to build this brand, this dope ass brand, and have someone take over, but someone that has the love for the culture that I'm around, like, for them to take over and 10 times it, you know? And so I'm actually, you know, in talks with him, but yeah, to this day, I'm still the sole owner of Retro Kings. You know, and people have came, man, like, yo, let me jump in, bro. I got some cash. Let me be a partner. Nope, nah, like, you know, respectfully,
it's still you.
Let me just do it by myself.
Yeah, it's still you. That was a long time coming. From what I'm hearing and from what I know of you and Brenda, is like, it's like a stove, right? When you turn off the stove, that pilot is still on. So that fire was still in you, and it's the passion, the passion of family, the passion of your designs. Like, you never lost that, regardless of all the struggles and the adversities you went through of the business. You never lost your passion. Yeah, you can lose business relationships and all kind of other stuff, material stuff, but your passion is always going to be in you. Right. That's why I try to tell people, business is up and down, just like relationship. Everything in life is up and down. As long as you never lose your passion, keep pushing forward, right? Because you're gonna get back up.
Yeah, man, and you know, and it's the shit's not easy, man.
It's not
on the business side, on the personal side, on the family side. Like, I don't know how many times I've sat there this year alone and argued with my wife about some shit that maybe we shouldn't even be arguing about, but we argue about it, you know. But my passion for me being a family man and having my family is deeper than that, and it's bigger than that. So we come to an agreement, then we move forward. You know,
you work through it,
and you work through it, and then the same thing with business. You know, like there's times when we're down here, man. There's times when we're up here. You know, you just got to be able to weather every storm.
No, and it's like what Kobe always say. It's the process. You got to enjoy the process. If you enjoy the process, all the other stuff is gonna work itself out. Yeah, you're gonna have the arguments, you're gonna have the ups and downs, but it's always gonna work itself out. As long as you enjoy the process, just keep pushing through it.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, man.
So let's talk about you and your podcast now. Friends of the program.
Yeah, man.
Dope logo, by the way.
Thank you.
I know you touched on it earlier. So you went from Retro Kings. You're still doing Retro Kings,
Right.
but now you're giving your knowledge and stuff back, and that's why I wanted you to do it, because you have so much knowledge and you have so much just to give back to people. Because I'm just a firm believer of our age right now, right? We're up there, and we're gonna talk about that too in a little bit. But right now, I feel like, what type of men will we be? And I'm kind of speaking for myself right now. Like, I've always looked at, and that's why I do my mentorship thing right now with the students. It's like, what kind of man would I be if I become this dope, successful person and I don't turn around and help somebody else up, right? Like, because somebody helped me, like AMG helped me, Claude. Those are the two dudes that really put me in a position to be where I'm at today. If it wasn't for those two dudes, I wouldn't be here today, 100%. And I've said this a million times. So I got to look at it like, damn, dude, someone helped me. I got to turn around and help them, whether it's me doing this podcast, giving out information, my stories and all that, and hopefully it helps somebody, or the mentorships where I do with the students now, telling them, like, look, I've been in your situation. I've been down that road, but I want you to take a different road. I don't want you to go down the road I went down, because I know that road, and you don't want to go down that road.
Yeah.
But now, like you doing your podcast, you're doing the same thing. You're talking, you're bringing on all these guests, giving your experiences, telling them what you guys love, what worked, what didn't work. That's why I wanted you to do it.
Yeah, man. I mean, you know me. Like I've said it plenty of times. I'm introverted, right? So I don't like this. I don't like being in front of a mic. I don't like being in front of camera, the lights, all of that. So when the idea popped up, when it was like, hey man, you're not printing anymore.
Right.
All you're doing is designing, but you got this beautiful space. Why don't you utilize it? Why don't you create a podcast? And I'm like, come on, man. Like, are you serious? Like, the one thing that I keep telling you guys that I don't like doing, I don't like being in front of people. Like, you want me to do that. But it was just one of those things where, and maybe, we're having a few drinks, and maybe I was just like, it was that courage. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, maybe I will try it. Let me hit up Mike. And I hit you up at the time, and you were like, yeah, bro, let's do it. And then I'm like, ugh. They're like, what'd he say?
Did you think I was going to say no?
Yeah, no. And I'm like, yo, he said, let's do it. They're like, now you got to do it. So I'm like sitting there like, damn. But, 22 episodes in, and every episode, it gets easier and easier to be able to do this, and it just feels a lot more organic now than it was obviously when I first started. And I love it, because for the hour or whatever time I'm here with my guest, everything else kind of just disappears.
Right. And I was going to get to that, because I remember you saying that to somebody the other day when we were in here talking about something else. It's kind of like, for me, it's therapeutic. Yeah. I was the same way. 35 years, I was behind the scenes. Never liked the sound of my voice. Never liked me being in front of the camera. But ever since I did it, and it started in the pandemic, when I was just doing all the Zoom stuff with everybody else, and everybody was like, you should do a podcast, you do a podcast. And I was like, I want to do a podcast.
Yeah.
But when I started talking and telling my story and being vulnerable and just kind of just letting everything out, because I used to go to therapy, and I knew how therapy felt, and I was like, well, maybe this is my new therapy. And it worked. Like, I feel good. Like, it's my release.
Right.
And I remember you saying that the other day, like, it's kind of like that for you.
I 6 months ago, I would have never thought that being in front of a mic, having a conversation with someone would be some sort of a like therapy for me. Yeah. But it is. Like, for that hour, like everything else, I just forget about it, and it's about me and my guest and getting to know my guests more, and just the vibing and the conversation, and you just forget about everything else, man.
It's like how people go to church. It's fellowship.
Yeah,
it really is therapy. It's fellowship. It's your release, and you feel like just a big weight is lifted off of you.
Yeah, man. And to me, it's dope now. Like I look forward, like my first 6-7 episodes, man. My palms were all sweaty. Like I knew it was Saturday, and I got to meet Mike over there at 5. Like I'm doing a podcast. Like it was that. And then now it's like I look forward to my guest being here. Like, hey man, let's cheers and let's get the show. Let's get it cracking.
You know what I'm looking forward to? Your 100th episode.
Yeah, man. And it's gonna happen. Like it's gonna happen.
It is gonna happen.
I have that's why I called it Friends of the Program too, because throughout my 20 plus years of being in business, I've met a lot of people. I met a lot of people, and now it's my turn to kind of, shine a light on them.
Yeah.
Like whatever it is that they're doing, I want to return that, because they've helped me throughout these 20 years. They've helped me in one way or another, So now it's my turn. It's my turn to give back. So
you are giving back, and I love how you bring the culture into it, the music, the movies, the what is it? Because you got the 5 elements. Yeah,
the sports, the movies, the music,
the business, the
business,
design,
and the art and design.
Yeah. I love how you brought all that together into a show. Like it's dope.
And I think it was just when I was building my brands, it's just the culture in itself that I just fell in love with.
Right.
And the culture created everything around it. Like, whether it's some dope movies that I like, whether it's the music that we listen to now, that's why I always say, like, to me, like Michael Jordan is the GOAT. He's the GOAT when it comes to basketball. He's the GOAT when it comes to the culture, because he created a bunch. Like imagine, like even like now, like, they're getting ready to release the Jordan 1s again, like the black and red ones. And in the commercial, it's like, what if, Nike didn't pay the fine?
Yeah. I saw that commercial. Dope. Yeah.
It's dope, right? And then you're like, you wouldn't have this. You wouldn't have this. You wouldn't have people like looking at your shoes and giving you that head nod.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't have this culture that he built. But he built that, and then little by little, the other guys came, Iverson, and then Kobe, and then LeBron. Like all these guys came after him. But can you imagine if there was no Jordan?
Dude, when I first saw that commercial, I literally had to watch it again, because I watched it at first and I was like, huh? Then I had to watch it. It made me think, and I was like, wait a minute, I need to watch this again. Yeah. And then I paid attention. And I was like, damn, that's fucking dope.
Yeah.
But it was so true.
And it's dope too. Like when, and I study a lot of the things that Nike does, and I try to use it myself, like obviously on a low budget level, but I try to get creative, but man, I study a lot of the things that they do. And it, to me, is just, that's the greatest company in the world. Like just the way, like they're going to make this bottle right here look so dope, right? That you're going to want to pay. It's a $5 bottle of water, but they're going to make you pay $200 for it.
Yeah.
Because they make it look dope. And because their photography is on point, because their marketing is on point, their videos, everything. And then you're like, I got to buy it for $200. But that's what they do. You know what I mean?
I'm still pissed off at myself. And I was super sad when Dwayne said he was going to retire. Do you know Dwayne started off at LA Gear?
LA Gear, yeah.
And ever since he started at LA Gear all the way up to Jordan, I never had to buy tennis shoes. Every month he would come home with a box, like twice as big as that box. And me and my boy Derek, because back then, I don't know if they still do it, but back then they only made samples in like 9.5.
9 or 9, yeah.
Yeah. And so me and Derek was the only ones that fit them. Like other boys, they couldn't fit them. So he would just give them to me and Derek would just split the shoes.
And you
every
were getting
month.
you were getting samples that probably didn't make They
didn't make
it.
exactly. That's
out.
my point.
Yeah.
So that's my point. That's why I'm mad, because when he went over to Nike, and especially when he went over to Jordans, I had so many Jordans. Even Derek right now would tell you he's kicking himself right now, because we're like, he was giving us boxes of Jordans that never came out, that never made it for whatever reason, but we had the samples of it. Just think if I would have saved all those.
Man.
Right?
Man, you probably could have. Man, I don't even want to say what you could have bought with it.
I know, but I did keep one pair. One pair of the 18.5s is when Jordan was in with the Wizards, and they
came in the case, right?
No. Well, I don't know if they came in the case. I can't remember that, but I don't have. I don't have the case.
You probably got them like way before.
Yeah.
And you got
so
samples,
no, I got. They only made 6 samples, and I got one of them. Dwayne gave me one of them. I'm not gonna say that now. He can't get sued now. Yeah.
Hey,
he gave me one of them.
By the way, shout out to Dwayne Edwards, man. For those of you guys that want to look him up, one of the coolest dudes ever. Like, the reason why too, like, I'm connected with some people at Nike was because of Dwayne. Like, my wife was pregnant, and there was this website called Kicks Guide, and we used to go on there, and they used to have a competition every month. This month we're gonna design the Kobe 3 or whatever, right, at the time. So we all go in there and we start designing the shoe, and we submit it, and then the community would vote on it, I think, and like they would post them. And then they'd have like the top 10, and then from the top 10, you get the winner. Right. You didn't win nothing, but you won. Like, man, I won Kicks Guide Shoe of the Month. So then Dwayne would go on there, and other guys from other companies, and they would give us tips. And they humble, bro. Like, like, they don't need to do that. Like, they're not getting paid to do none of this, but they would go on there because they saw the love that we all had for this, like for footwear, for sneakers, right? And that's how I met him. So one time I just sat there and I'm like, let me shoot him I don't know if it was an email, message. And I'm like, hey man, like, I want to go up to the campus. If I go up there, you think you give us a tour? Yeah, man. Just, I mean, you got to pay for your flight, hotel, whatever, but you make it. And if I'm here, you got it.
That's the one thing about Dwayne, man. And that's where I got it from. Like, he's so humble, and he was like, he gives back all the time. He's like, yeah, I'll show you around. I'll do this. I'll do that. Like, he's like, as long as I'm available.
This is how long I've known Dwayne. My son wasn't born yet. My daughter was in my wife's belly. We flew to Beaverton. Yeah. And he gives us the tour, right? And my wife, at first my wife's like, why you want to go to Oregon? Like, why don't you take me to Hawaii or something, right? And I'm like, I really want to do this. And by the time we were done, she was like, man, this was so dope. Right. But full circle, my son starts wanting to mess around with shoes and, wants to take apart my Nikes because he wants to look at the air bubble when he was like 10 or 11. So I let him. And then he starts having this love for footwear, right? To the point where he's like, he'll tell you, like, this is the medial part of the shoe. This is the lateral. This is this. Like, the terms that the designers use. And I show this to Dwayne. And then Dwayne's like, hey, bro, like, I'm having this in the summer. I'm having this, it's like a curriculum, but it's for high school students. But if your kid wants to do it, man, I'm not tripping. Like, bring them. Here we are. Like, we drive up there. It was me, my son, and my father-in-law, rest in peace. And we drive up there, bro. And I'll never forget this. My son, like, he makes you right off the bat, he makes you get in front of the class and start, explaining like who you are, what are you about, like, right? And these kids are like nervous. And then my son goes up there and he's like, my name is Ness Jr., blah, 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 like super loud on the mic, right? And then he's like, whoa, hold up. Dwayne's like, hold on. He's like, you're not gonna tell me that this 10-year-old has got like way more, like he's way more enthusiastic than you guys that are in high school and this and that, right? And it was just so dope. Like, he opened his school, like he has, a footwear design academy called Pencil, and he opened it up for my son, and he wasn't even a teenager. He was 10 years old, That's dope, and it was so dope, man. So yeah, full circle moment, and to this day, man, I still think highly of Dwayne, man. Like,
I talked to him the other night because he's helping me actually do a design thing for one of the schools that I'm at right now.
Okay.
So yeah, but yeah, so I mean, going back to mine. So yeah, I kept one of the shoes.
Oh, well, I got I don't have one of 6, but I got one of 53 Jordan 1s. They created back then. They used to have this. It was called Future Soul.
Yeah.
So it's got the little logo on the side. They only made like 53 of them, and I got one of them. And then he sent me, I think 23. That he worked on. Yeah. So yeah, he's worked on a lot of shoes. Yeah, he knows Jordan and everything. So big time dude, man. Yeah.
So what I want to talk about next, I was talking about time earlier, because we're up there.
Oh.
Tomorrow, I'll be 54.
Man.
And then nice. I know you just turned 50.
Yeah, man.
So, because we had this conversation a couple of weeks ago, because I told you I heard Marlon Wayans say it, that, dude, I have more time behind me than in front of me. Like, I don't waste any of my time no more.
Yeah, man.
Like, I just don't. I think the older we get now, we understand, like, we don't put up with no bullshit. We don't waste time. It's like, I ain't got time for that. Like, yeah, even with the simple arguments, like, hey, bro, no, I'm not wasting time.
I think I told you, like, I saw a post where it was like, if you're 50, you've already lived 66% of your life. And I'm sitting there like, 66%? Damn, I'm like almost at 70. Like, so it makes you think, like, it makes you open your eyes. Like, yeah, man, the older we get, the less BS we want to deal with, man.
Right.
Like, you want to be able to enjoy life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we've worked hard, in our 20s, our 30s, our 40s. Now here we are in our 50s. And little by little, we got to learn how to let go of some things and just be able to enjoy life from here on out till, till the day he calls us.
And that's the key, man. Letting go is not worth it. 100%
and,
is not.
And going back to, like, my brand, right? Like, when putting my brand together for someone to take over, like my boy, he's younger than me. My boy Mark, he's younger than me, right? So I can see he's, 10, 11, 12 years younger than me. So he's still, like, the energy level, everything, right? And so, and I've known him for a minute. He's always been down with me and my brand. Like, I can see the love that he has for it. So, like, when I was packaging this brand together, I didn't look at it to, like, say, like, I'm going to sell it just to this company right here.
Right.
And I don't know, they could do whatever they want with it. No, like, I want someone to take over and be able to build on it, and still, like, I can still say I have energy, but like we say, little by little, we got to let go of some of the things to be able to enjoy the rest of our life. And that's one of them for me,
So before we get out of here, what's next?
Well, I'm looking forward to hitting 50 episodes, and then 100 after that. I know we do one once a week, and it's working out pretty good. And I'm loving it, man. I'm loving the whole podcast thing, And again, like, I'm not doing it for the money.
No, yeah.
I'm doing it because I got cool people on the show, and I appreciate them too, like, for coming on my show. And then I just want to be able to, shine a light on them. That's one. Two, yeah, maybe, if the deal happens with my brand, I want to see where he can take it. And then two, like, I design for a lot of brands, big brands, little brands. I design for a lot of people, and I love doing that. I love being in front of the computer. And that's something I feel like I could do till the day that I die. Like, it's not, I'm not a hooper. Like, I love playing basketball, but at some point I can't play competitive basketball because my knees they're not there anymore, or my back or whatever. But designing is something I feel I could do till the day that I die. And then two, like, just seeing my kids grow, man. I want to be a grandparent. I want to take more vacation, bro. Like, be able to enjoy time with my wife. Just take off. And I'm the type, I don't like taking more than 4 or 5 days. I like taking a good 3-4 days and then coming back.
Yeah. I don't like doing so much either.
Yeah, but just all that packaged together, man. That's kind of where I'm headed.
But I see you doing your podcast. I do see you hitting 100 episode, and even more if you want to go past that. But I see it as you're also building your legacy, right? Because I think you already did that with the design. Like, that's already solid.
Yeah.
But now you're adding to your legacy. I should actually say you're adding to your legacy.
Yeah.
Like just by leaving all this content, because
And it was hard, man. I ain't gonna lie. You know, and you saw it from the beginning.
Yeah.
Like it was super difficult for me to actually say yes, man, and
Yeah.
actually do it. Like have the guts to do it.
yeah, because we failed on our first episode. We
Yeah,
did.
for real.
But you kept going though. You came back. You said, "No, come on, we're gonna do this
we're
over."
gonna do it again.
I still got the episode. At some point, I'm gonna put it up. It's gonna be a
Yeah.
bloopers reel, but
Yeah, we got to do something. But yeah, man, it's dope. Like and little by little, like we've been improving on things. And yeah, I don't know where it could take us, but again, like I'm not looking at this for the money. You know, I'm looking at it for, it's friends of the family. I mean, friends of the program. Yeah. You know, they're family to me.
But again, like I said, when someone, let's say 100 years from now, and someone's looking at your stuff like, oh man, you remember Retro Kings and all these dope designs? Because your designs are, to me, they're timeless.
That's what
like
I try to
old
create.
school stuff. Yeah, they're timeless designs. So in 100 years from now you have the friends of the program where now they can go online and like listen to you. Yeah. Listen to all your guests that helped you build this and that you've worked with. Like, that's dope. Again, that's adding to your legacy.
Yeah, man. And I just had, a couple weeks ago, I just had someone that I don't really know. I know him from Instagram, like, or messaging, And he said, man, the other day I sat there and binged your shows, bro, on YouTube.
Oh, dope.
And I'm like, man, like, you really took time out of your day to binge my show because you wanted to, whoever it was I had on there, it was interesting to him, and that's the dope part about it to me and that's what keeps me like wanting to keep doing it and keep improving and keep getting better.
I heard somebody tell me that too. They told me, they was like, Mike, I'm really loving your show. They said they're pretty long because my shows are like an hour and a half, hour and a half. And they was like, I'm on the third episode. And I was like, well, damn, you got a long way to go. They was like, I know, but I'm doing it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I kind of did like a test. I hit up a lot of people and they're like, hey, man, I'm gonna start this. Would you rather see like a 30-minute? Because like one of my favorite shows is Entourage. And it was a 30-minute show, but it kept like wanting me to keep watching. Yeah, you know what I mean? So I've watched Entourage at least 3 times, but it was because it was like 30 minutes after 30 minutes after 30 minutes. And it was dope. Yeah. So then, I try to keep mine at around 45 minutes, try to keep everybody happy, even though, you can't do that. But I try to keep mine
Well, I mean, sometimes the conversation just goes over. I mean, because I know there's a couple of times you went over hour 5, hour 10. Yeah. But the conversations are good. And as long as the conversations are good, I think that's okay. Yeah. Like I think you're still in that little sweet spot.
Yeah, man. But yeah, man, I'm loving it.
Cool. So we're about to get out of here, man. But thank you so much, sir.
No doubt, man.
Thank you for coming on here. Appreciate you and your time. Appreciate you and your wife. Everything that you do for the community. Everything you do for everybody here at Pretty Little Poppy, man. We love you guys for it. Tell us where they can find, Retro Kings and friends of the program.
You can find us on YouTube. You guys want to check out the podcast? Look up Retro Kings and then friends of the program. Instagram at the Retro Kings. And that's pretty much all I use. I got Twitter and everything else, but I hardly ever use it. And yeah, man. And then the website, just theretrokings.com. We do drops every now and then. I'm not too heavy on it right now, but yeah, we're about to drop a dope Jordan hoodie. His birthday's coming up, so
I saw that.
I had to do it. But yeah, man, just the Retro Kings at the Retro Kings on Instagram, and then also on YouTube.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. And keep doing those drops because I actually love following you on IG now because of the drops.
Yeah, man.
Because I didn't know. I thought you were just doing. At first, I thought you were just doing them just to be like throwing out designs, but then you was like, no, if somebody want to order a shirt, like hit me up.
Yeah,
that's dope. Like I've gotten so many shirts from you because of that.
Yeah.
So thank you for doing that. Yeah, because now you got original stuff. So y'all hit them up on IG and keep following us, you guys. We love you guys. We appreciate you and thank you for listening and following. And we out.
Peace.